A little over a year ago, I did my first video on Shonen Jump, in commemoration of its 50th anniversary, and having experienced all the highs and lows of the anniversary, I find that we're in an interesting position that has been the culmination of Jump's strategy and emphasis on growth that's been quite important for its series and the magazine as a whole. Right at the end of 2017, Jump introduced 3 new series, namely Tematoi the Lycopene Poodle, Full Drive, and Golem Hearts. As it stands, all 3 series have ended their run, and the only 2 series in Jump from 2017 that are running in the magazine are We Never Learn and Dr. Stone. Considering the emphasis on new titles along with the massive promotion of 6 new titles in 6 weeks, ultimately 9 of the 11 series introduced in 2017 were axed. Even Robot Laserbeam, which seemed to have escaped and found an audience, came crashing down to receive the axe in June 2018. Coming into the new year, we began the first round of serializations with Boza Beats, a manga about exorcism and monks that was stylistically sound but seemed to lack the substance and strong story hook to keep audiences engaged right from the start, so it went out the window in 13 chapters. The next series to begin its run in Jump thankfully didn't have the same fate. Act Age, written by Tatsuya Matsuki and illustrated by Shiro Usazaki, centers around Kei Yonagi, who hails from a poor family and wants to take care of her family after their dad just up and bailed following their mother's death. Kei holds the dream of becoming an actress, but her current circumstances hold her back. In spite of this, she auditions for a talent agency and gets rejected due to her impeccable method acting. Kei used to watch films since she was 2, and in her audition, she makes it to the 5th round where she's asked to cry on command. Kei cries on command and is rejected thanks to the CEO of the agency believing her method acting is far too dangerous for her own good. However, thanks to Kei's convincing acting, a fellow auditionee drops out and leads to her being recruited by the director at the agency, who's been looking for an actress to make his dream film. This star-crossed tale of actress and director explores the dreams of stardom and the perils of acting in a series that's so unique and unlike anything in Jump currently. I'm honestly a little bit surprised that this series managed to find an audience and thrive in Jump, but that simple premise, along with strong art plus the opportunity for some Jump-esque competitive battle spirits in the same vein of Shokugeki no Soma, makes for an interesting manga. Though I have to admit the key difference is having a female protagonist, which Jump has been more inclined to serialize as of recent years, and a different type of hook than Soma obviously. Following Act Age, in the next issue we have the undoubtable breakout hit of 2018. Jujutsu Kaisen, literally translated to Sorcery Magic, centers around our main character, Yuji Itadori, who's a student at Sugisawa Town 3 High School, and at the surface he enjoys being lazy and reading manga, loves girls like Jennifer Lawrence, yet possesses an insane strength and speed. He joins the occult club as a way to do whatever he wants and chill, despite the persistence of the track and field coach, who subsequently tries to force him to join. At the same time, a first year at Jujutsu Specialty High School, Megumi Fushiguro, is looking for a curse that has been lingering at Sugisawa High, and this leads to the introduction of curses and exorcism in the story that becomes the focus. These interactions go on and give us an insight into Yuji's personality and motivations, which are so clear-cut and equally cutthroat that I haven't seen from anything in Jump thus far. As the series goes on, we gain an insight into Yuji's character that is quite fascinating, and in a time where characters like Emma and Deku are caught up in the moral aspects of their roles, it's quite refreshing to see a character like Yuji, who so intrinsically cuts through the bullshit and yet manages to have a mature charm about him that is different to the current protagonists in Jump. Granted, right now I'm only 6 chapters into the story, but Yuji's aversion to being sentimental or being in angst over killing cursed beings makes for an interesting character. There's some nuance to his characterization where even though he makes for a bit of a smartass, he's willing to cry, yet the mangaka doesn't show us that aspect, even though his reasoning is pivotal to why he became a sorcerer. As it stands, Jujutsu Kaisen is one of the best new series in 2018, and having read it so far, the strong characters coupled with the interesting story makes for one of the best debuts in 2018, with the series already doing remarkably well in Japan. If there's only one series you have to pick up from the 2018 batch, it definitely has to be Jujutsu Kaisen. The last of the first serialization round was Noah's Notes, a charming series about archaeology that had fantastic lore and felt like an epic series that would engross you into its world and facets of science. As Professor Noah, an archaeologist looking for relics to stop the looping of time over 100 years, with the world set to reset in 4 years. The main character Noah was absurd beyond belief, and the main female protagonist was a bit dim-witted with no redeeming qualities, which despite the insane premise, the lack of a strong story hook and characterization beyond plain archetypes affected the series, leading to its cancellation in just 22 chapters. Continuing the run of cancellations, Ziga, Momoji no Kisetsu, Invade You, Seiji Tanaka, and Alice Totayo all ended in Jump with 20 or less chapters. Overall, the variety of this series is something to be noted. Jump, interestingly enough, hasn't been publishing the normal Jump action manga that it's so famous for, with only Jujutsu Kaisen having fallen under that bracket. It speaks to the strategy of Jump that most of the manga being published are a mix of shonen and something new or elements that aren't traditionally in Jump. From kaiju, shogi, to a time-traveling business manga, Shonen Jump isn't lacking in creativity, and their willingness to publish all these manga that don't even come across as completely feeling like Jump speaks volumes to their approach to publishing manga in the modern day. Sure, they could do 20 action series, but that would lead to the magazine cannibalizing itself, so finding a variety in the type of content they want to publish and pushing for success outside their typical material is where Jump's focus lies right now. Jump understands the value of establishing pockets within the magazine where different audiences can grow, which can lead to more success as each of its readers look outside their typical pockets for everything that the magazine has to offer outside of the mainstays like One Piece. Similarly, the atypical nature of The Promised Neverland in its writing and tone also does wonders in making a unique work that stands out without having to rely on the cliches of Jump. Whilst readers may want another Naruto or another One Piece in the magazine, the roles of these established tentpole series is to allow newer series to experiment as they carry the magazine. Even Oda considers himself and One Piece as the ace of the magazine for this reason. That's why it's important for the editorial department to take advantage of this benefit to ensure that the next ace or even the next big 3 manga are lined up for when One Piece ends, even if that's a decade away. This experimentation will be quite critical and useful in helping Jump grow, and I look forward to seeing more successful series in the future. In spite of this, I do find the strategy to be quite intriguing, as it led to some interesting decisions being made recently. As of current, there are 5 series that have begun new serializations to wrap up the list for 2018, namely Shishunki Renaissance David Kun, I'm From Japan, Chainsaw Man, Neolation, and Gokutei Higuma. David Kun and I'm From Japan began in the 42nd issue together as a comedy series, and I find it immensely intriguing that I'm From Japan was announced to be getting an anime adaptation in spring 2019. For a series with less than 20 chapters and a comedy at that, having an anime adaptation announced so early into its run is unprecedented. Whether this signals a shift in how quickly certain manga are announced for anime adaptations or not is yet to be seen, but it's worth mentioning nonetheless. It's understandable that for a comedy manga where tales can be episodic in nature and not bound by an overarching narrative, the need to hold off for 2 years before announcing an anime adaptation is reduced. So if it leads to more comedy or episodic manga getting faster anime adaptations or adaptations outside the typical 23-minute episode format, there's more variety in how these properties can be handled and can be used as a draw to bring in new readers who will watch the anime and subsequently pick up the magazine in the same way you'd pick up newspapers to read the comics at the back. Looking ahead for 2019, it will be interesting to see how long these new serializations run for and if they can find an audience in Jump. For as much as the magazine has been betting on these new creators in 2018, it looks like it's time to call in the big guns, as Masashi Kishimoto will be making his return to the magazine this spring. However, he's only the writer for his forthcoming new series, and it will be illustrated by Akira Okubo, a longtime assistant for Kishimoto on Naruto. And as long as the series is weekly and close enough to Kishimoto's art style, I think most fans should be able to latch on, and even some of the initial images deceived a few of us fans into thinking it was Kishimoto's art because it was so close. Regardless of Kishimoto's return, which is a huge deal, it's important for Jump to find a new crop of series that settle in and have a solid foundation. Jujutsu Kaisen was an important win for Jump in 2018, and something interesting that I've noticed is that the prevalence of female mangaka that continue to find success in Jump is only increasing, especially with this new crop going back to Kimetsu no Yaiba, The Promised Neverland, Act Age, and Jujutsu Kaisen. The most memorable successes in Jump since 2015 have had a growing proportion of female mangaka, which is important to highlight. More so, I think it's important for Jump to have a global perspective, to want the success to be global whilst avoiding an inclusive approach to the manga production process seems counterintuitive, especially as Jump has never had a female editor in its 50 years of existence, which will become a more pressing issue as the magazine continues to evolve. So it'd be good to see if the editor-in-chief and high-ups push for this going forward. But if they're not able to challenge the norm and go beyond, I don't want to see a press release talking about Jump getting its first female editor when the intent behind it isn't so sincere, or if they're just being pushed into finally making a change, to which they subsequently try to twist the narrative as if it's something that they should be commended for. Regardless, I do think it'd be interesting for Jump to get more people from varying backgrounds involved to allow for the creation of more interesting manga. And if the focus in Jump is to create interesting manga, then these artificial barriers that exist purely so that the status quo can be maintained needs to be removed. Whether that will happen or not, only time will tell. As for the magazine in general, I do believe it'll need more successes in 2019. To ensure the longevity of the magazine with young talent, especially as we head into the new decade and the probability of One Piece existing by the end of it slowly diminishes. Regardless of One Piece, it's going to be valuable to have some fresh blood and younger and more global audiences, so a global approach to the creation of manga would be quite interesting so that Jump can continue to exist for the next 50 years. I want to take the time to thank all of you guys for checking out this video, and given that I'm uploading this at the end of January, I gotta say that having been a month into 2019, we've already seen some big changes in the landscape. Jump has now gone global, and the premonition of Jump having a global emphasis and focus going into 2019 seems to be coming true. So that's something that I'm not surprised by and glad that they're making that move. However, like I said, you can't have global success without having a global mindset, so I hope that's something they look forward to having soon. As for you guys, if you like this video, feel free to give a like, leave a comment down below sharing your thoughts, I'll definitely be checking those out, and subscribe if you want to see all my latest videos, and click the notification bell to be notified straight when they're uploaded. Until next time, take care.